All right, everyone, welcome to another 90 Day Fiance recap chat. This time before the 90 days. Now, of course, we know 90 Day Fiance. You guys know my spiel. Just to give you a quick intro, is a reality show that follows couples, one from the U.S., one from another country. We follow their, regular relationship issues, especially being long distance, along with cultural barriers, language boundaries, and the whole process of trying to be engaged to marry and doing that with someone from another country, all the legal ramifications and things that go on with that as well, and sometimes blockades. This is 90 Day Fiance, and this particular spinoff we're covering is Before the 90 Days. All right, guys, we're going to get into these couples here. Renee and Chidi, I thought they were done. Like last week, I was like applauding Chidi for walking away and doing it in such a way where he still was respectful and respectable. And he always was that guy throughout this whole process, as far as what I've seen and what we've seen on the show. But Renee was always that girl that's always had to cuss, fuss, fight, and not look so good at the end of the day. So I don't know why Chidi decided, hey, let me try and do this like one more time. Let's end on good terms. Part of me feels like he wanted to try to keep the relationship on some level, but he meets her at the hotel, finally, what she's always wanted. She comes down to the lobby. He has gifts for her, and they both seem a little happy, and hopefully he's calling her babe. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Her sister's waiting outside. I guess he needs backup just in case he can call in backup, because Renee will, do something to you. Verbally, she can break it down pretty bad. But he gives her gifts, and I think he wants to say his final goodbye to her. He wants to end things on better terms. He brings her the gifts. She thinks it's manipulation. She starts to fight again. She calls him evil. She even calls him a scammer and the B word. So as he's trying to explain himself, the only thing he was able to get in was, hey, the best part of our relationship was when we first met, and after that things haven't been going so well, or haven't gone well since the beginning. And he said he really wanted to get that off his chest, and that's really all he could get off his chest, because she started fighting again. She can't really take any type of criticism or hear anybody out. So I don't see how she could be in a relationship when she can't hear anything negative about herself. So she can't work on anything about herself either if she doesn't want to accept or hear her own issues. She tells him he needs to learn to shut his mouth. I love you. They both say I love you, but it was like in a angry rage way, especially on her end. And then she said bye, went to the hotel. Went back up to her room, mentioned it to the sister because she saw the sister out there. She's like, go back out there to your sister. And, she has an issue with the sister. He said basically at the end of the day, they're not compatible. He gave it his all, and he hopes to really find a good person that he's compatible with. It's really sweet. His sister comes in, pats him on the shoulder, comforts him. They're kind of like holding hands a bit as they walk out. I'm sure Renee would make fun of that, but I'm glad that he has somebody that cares about him, family that's on his side. Being someone that's blind is very difficult alone, and then trying to find love and probably even thinking you might not be able to do so. And sometimes I feel like I've done kind of what Chidi was doing, and trying to hold on to something that was dead, hold on to something that was negative, just because I wanted this relationship. But I feel like God kind of stepped in and removed things and made things work the way that they did, so that relationship ended, probably for the best for both of us. But I really do feel like Chidi stood up and he actually took initiative and said, I'm done with this. Everything she put him through, he's done. I'm sorry, I wouldn't have gone back for the last goodbye or the last hurrah. I do appreciate that he got her some gifts, I guess parting gifts. I don't know, maybe that's what he wanted to do, but for me, I would have just sent flowers to her hotel or something and been done with it. I'm not gonna go see you again to get cussed out and put down and to get beat up again. One last beating to go for the end of the road. But I hope he got the closure that he needed, and I really hope that they don't try to rekindle anything. Please, Chitty, please. Please move on. All right, let's get to Niles and Matilda. Um, he's now going to back to Matilda's home. The family sees him. They welcome him with a hug. I feel like he felt a good connection with the family. They've accepted him. She starts to show him around the house, and he really gets to see the conditions of her house, and he wasn't expecting it to be the way that it was. And especially when they get to the shower did look pretty scary to me as well. It seemed like a house that needed to be renovated, that was, needed a lot of work. He was saying, it doesn't seem like a house, it seems like a prison. It was dirt floors, not much furniture. And she shows him around, and she actually tells him that she sleeps on the floor, and I think another relative also sleeps on the floor. I think the kid was the only one that maybe had the bed. And he just straight up said, the thing about, okay, this is like a prison. No one should really live here. And she felt like he was kind of too judgmental at the time, but I don't think she really addressed it at that moment. So she was like, well, this is what we can afford. And she kind of justified why they lived there and whatnot. And then as I think I think the brother was showing him how to get to the Wi-Fi. So her sister starts talking and saying, why are you guys putting off the wedding right now? I thought you guys were supposed to get married in a minute. And she was like, well, we need to get to know me first. It's the first time meeting. And the sister was like, well, you should have just forced him to do it. I don't know if that's a good way to start a marriage. And I do know women will force you just because they'll say, if the guy really wants to be with you, he's going to do it on some level. But I think partially he also said he can't afford everything right now. So that's part of the problem also. So even if he did do the wedding financially, I don't know if he would be able to hold up everything for the wedding. He's not prepared when it comes to that, because he already had to pay for the trip. He's paying for hotel rooms and all of that. So even though they're not married now, they're still doing the knocking ceremony, which is like some sort of engagement ceremony where the families kind of embrace each other and accept each other. But her sister's like, well, I have to cook all this food. We're gonna need about $250 from him to do this knocking. And she says, well, hopefully she can get it from him. Otherwise, she'll be disgraced, because she already had to put off the wedding for him, and then the family didn't really agree with that, but they were kind of going along with him saying that he's gonna come back. So now she has to get this $250 out of him. So when I was looking at the house and thinking about the house, and I look how well put together Matilda is and her family members, it makes me think about, hey, anybody can have a busted house. There's people in the U.S. that have busted houses, but you'll never know by looking at them, because they just have such a nice presentation, nice and clean presentation. You will never know some of the conditions people live in, not only in other countries, but here in the U.S. Because, watching this show, I've seen people from other countries and their housing conditions didn't look the greatest, but I've seen people in the U.S. housing conditions didn't look that great either. But if you see them at work, you see them at school, you'd have no idea how they live in their homes. So you never know the struggles that people are going through, and it also enlightens you on that level as well. You never really know what people are going through and how hard it may be for them And some people also have also struggled for such a long time. They don't really know how to live. They don't really know how to take care of themselves. They live off the bare minimum. And once they do get some money, they still may not, live the lifestyle that they could be living because they're used to living in these type of conditions. So maybe they do need to get some lessons on that when it comes to life. But Niles could have also felt, hey, she really does need my money. She needs to marry me because of financial reasons. I don't think that he took that thought right away at that time. But she continues to spend the day with him. They go sell plantains together. And they're having fun. He's impressed on how she can hold this big bowl of plantains on her head. She's just walking like it's nothing and just balancing it on her head. And he's pretty much impressed by the precision of this. Then he has to yell out, I don't remember the exact wording, but that they have plantains for sale and something else for sale. So the way he yells it out makes her laugh, and they're just having a good time. But then she kind of talks to him about, hey, when we were at my house and you kind of were insulting my house, that was kind of painful for me. But I did think, it had something to do with your autism, the way that you're so blunt about whatever you're thinking. And he apologizes, and she kind of tries to level with him and say, in front of people, don't be so honest. You can be honest with me at home, but in private, but in front of my friends and family and publicly, just don't tell everything or say everything that straight comes to your head. So he said, he appreciates that. She said, don't leave me because I told you this. And he said, I won't. And he said he really appreciated her actually telling him the best way to handle things and the best way to treat her versus her just walking off and saying this isn't going to work, which has happened to him in the past as far as people just not trying to work with him. It's like, this isn't going to work, but not really telling him how to make it work. So the fact that she's open about that, she talks it out with him, I think they're doing some good things for their relationship. But then she asked for that knocking money right after that. First, she's like, okay, I accept you and we're going to work on things. Now, can I get that knocking money? First, it was only supposed to be 20 or 30 people. Now, it's about 90 people that she wants to invite. And again, they're going to need $250. $250 doesn't seem like a whole lot of money, but if you have a trip that you plan and the money's pretty tight, you're staying in hotel rooms, and you bought a ring, which the ring was around $200 something as well. You have a tight budget because the trip alone, I know, couldn't be that cheap. I'm sure his budget is pretty tight and confined. And again, he even said that he's not sure if he has that much money to do this, but he said he'll see what he can do. And I think he said, I'm not a genie. I don't just have money just easily whenever you ask, but I'm going to try to do the best I can to get this money, especially since I'm not doing the whole ceremony and I kind of let your family down. So that's the situation they're in now. I think they go and talk to her brother. I think it's her brothers. I think there's both of her brothers. And they're talking more about the knocking ceremony. And they're also talking about, hey, Niles, you have to have a family member to represent you. So both families have to be represented at this ceremony. He's like, well, they really want to tell them. And he still hasn't told them. But we know that his family's not really accepting of their relationship. They think maybe she's a scammer because of their whole relationship. I think she DM'd him. She's from another country. She wants to get married right away. I don't know if they know all that stuff, but they don't approve. So they said, well, you need someone as a father figure that is going to come on your behalf as your family member to accept this marriage. So it's somebody named Mr. Ark in the community that Matilda must have connected him with. They're in the same field when it comes to working with disabled children. So they're hoping that he can help and be a part of the knocking ceremony. So now we're going to go to Joe and Magda, which is a new couple. And he's basically Italian from Jersey. He's a family guy. He's really close to his family. I'll say that. He's 34. His dad's like, hey, he should be married at this point. They call him the prodigal son because he left Jersey, went to Florida, is pretty successful. Well, he's kind of a party guy. He started talking to Magda, I think. She was visiting from Poland, and I think one of his friends had her around. He saw her in the background and was like, started to talk to her. I guess it's from the video chat he saw her in the background. Found out she was visiting. I guess they exchanged information and they started talking all the time. They do everything together online except go to the bathroom together. So he let us know that he does a lot of FaceTime while going to the bathroom because that's the time where he has a little break in between. He loves to work. So really didn't want to know that about him. Now that you FaceTime, when you FaceTime with someone again, it makes you wonder, are they in the bathroom? Are they in the B room? What are they doing while they're talking to you? And you only want to see their face. Don't go down any further. Thank you. He's going to head off to Poland. But he's telling the family about her. She's only 23. And, the family is a little suspect about it. The family is a funny family. They do seem like they could have their own show. She used to be a corrections officer, Magda, but now she wants to be a housewife right away. She wants to marry him and be a mom. So again, the family's suspicious. He did let them know she's never asked them for any money. She never asked him for any money. So he feels like she's not that type of person, but you never know. They're saying, well, once she gets here, she's going to have to rely on you completely. So the money is going to all be on you. But he's like, well, I'm going to be up there for 3 weeks. We're going to get to know each other. We're going to see, if we should go further with this, if marriage is in our future. But, Magda seems like marriage is an absolute for her vibe. Joe lets us know he loves money, working, hustling. He's a realtor where he works with lavish homes. And as he's setting up his next house, I guess, in order for people to come take a look, he says they need to talk. So they talk, and one of their issues is, and we'll find out as he goes to hang out with his friends. He kind of tells us the issues, and that basically he was talking and even slept with another woman as they were talking for, I think, the last 5 months. He's like, well, I didn't know we were exclusive. So after she actually point blank asked him, then he finds out, oh, I shouldn't have been seeing anyone else because she stopped seeing people. Now he has to share his location because she's not trusting him. And the friends point that out like, well, you guys have trust issues if you have to share your location all the time. They think things are moving too fast. And the friends, to me, I feel like I'm not a huge fan of the Jersey Shore, but the friends are all from Jersey, though they live in Florida now. I feel like they are very much watch reality shows. It very feels staged on that particular part with him and his friends in the pool. One of his friends he used to date like 6 or 7 years ago, so they bring that up. Is she gonna be jealous and all of that? So there's some things to think about and some red flags. He continues to think and say, maybe there are some red flags. They prep for the trip. He actually takes her FaceTime while he goes to I believe it's like a pharmacy where you have all your basic things like toothpaste and all that stuff you can take on the trip with you. Shampoo, toothpaste, all that stuff. And he goes past the condoms and he's like, are we going to need these here? And she's like, no, we're not going to be having sex yet. I'm going to wait till I go to the U.S. to have sex. So he's a little bit tripped up about that situation and scenario. He's like, we've seen each other naked before. What's the big deal? Why would she wait till she comes to the U.S.? But before that, they're having a little fun. They see some walkers and he's walking around with the walker, trying it out. She's kind of making fun of his age, calling him an old man. He might need something for his hair so his hair can grow, though it doesn't look like he's losing any hair as of yet. I think I've seen something in the back. But she's making old man jokes. He's 34, she's 23. It's an age difference there, but it's not super wild. We're getting a little past 10 years. But this is the kind of thing that men do. It seems like it's the vibe that, men aren't ready. And then when they get ready, they want someone super young that's just starting out in life. And that's usually the situation and scenario and setup because, the young girl, she hasn't established herself yet. Now she can have time to be a mom and do all of that. But I feel like it's better if you can learn yourself, know yourself, and find out more of who you are before you get married. But this scenario can work and people can be very happy in this scenario as well. No hate. I do kind of don't like the fact that guys get to start later and then they start later, but then they get someone younger that's kind of new. To me, I feel it's a bit unfair. I know some women do that, but if customarily men do that, though I do understand because it seems like takes a while for men to kind of grow up. So the maturity levels are definitely off when it comes to men and women in our age groups. And as we close out on the story with Joe and Magda for this episode, he leaves the store saying there are some red flags there. He's surprised that she doesn't want to spend the night with him at all during, I think, this 3-week trip. But, she's only 23. You don't know her sexual lifestyle. You may have seen her nude, but you don't know how fast or how slow she takes things. And if she wants to be in a marriage with you, she may want to wait. She does want to wait till she gets to the U.S. I understand why he kind of feels that's red flaggish because, he's not going to get anything. He's not going to get the goods, so to speak, until he wipes her. And I understand that on her side too, though, because she doesn't just want to be some girl that he hits up while he's in another country. And then once he goes back to the U.S., out of sight, out of mind, go do whatever I want. So I see her perspective as well. She just doesn't want to be that side chick from Poland that he plays with whenever he wants to and never seriously brings her to the U.S. to be his wife. Is the U.S. her American dream? Does she want to be in the U.S.? That's also a story and an issue that they need to talk about. But she just want to be in the U.S. and still love him and want to have a family with him as well. So that can still work and that can still be something that can happen and be a working scenario for them. So to say that, it's all a scam, it's kind of hard to tell at this moment. If she's really serious about being a wife, then, and she knows the fact she's going to be in another country and she doesn't want to be taken for granted or played because she's from another country, I kind of get where she's coming from. But, as the producers wait for him to go on the trip, because he's supposed to be going on the trip that day, as the producers show up, it's hours before he's supposed to be on the trip or take his flight, and he's not answering the door. Nothing's happening. It's kind of strange. It's kind of odd. What's going on here? And is he standing up the trip? Is he standing up Magda? That is the question. So they leave us with a bit of a cliffhanger. So I want to see what's going to happen with Joe and Magda. Is this even going to go? We'll see. Now let's go with Vea and Sunny. Vea is the one that brought her ex on the trip to meet Sunny for the first time. They had a big argument and issue. Things looked like it was going to be over, but they tried to work it out. They're back on, and he brings her to meet his friends. These are all Muslim men here. I think she's kind of wearing some fitting clothing, a top where her belly is showing. I'm not sure if that's called a crop top or whatnot. But they're going to play cricket, and she's going to play with them. She's flirting with Sunny. Cricket looks like baseball to me, maybe a little bit different, but this, like, instead of a regular bat, it's like a flat looking paddle to me. I've never seen anyone play cricket, so I'm not sure if they're doing it in the original way, but it looks baseballish. So his friend, starts to talk to Vea, and the way she's dressed and whatnot is already putting up flags, and he's like, um, you have to be a Muslim, right, for this relationship to continue. You have to cover up, and you have to change your religion if you guys are going to get married. And she's like, hey, I wasn't told that. I feel kind of ambushed about this. Asking about her clothes and her tattoos and how she's going to really have to change up who she is. And she's like, hey, Sonny didn't really tell me that I had to become Muslim. And he's like, hey, telling his friend, we're not going to talk about that right now. We're going to explore our relationship first and focus on, if we want to be together. So as they leave and they get in the car, they start talking about it further. And she lets him know, hey, I feel ambushed and attacked about this situation. And really, she doesn't want to become a Muslim because she knows the way the women are treated. She feels like she'll lose her freedoms of things that she wants to do. But his friend pretty much breaks it all down and lets her know basically what's going to happen. Something that should have happened with Advent and Tiger Lily to me, because she seems to have no idea what being a Muslim wife is, but now she's married. The friend actually did them both a favor, but especially Vea if she wants to live this lifestyle. I don't like the secrecy. I don't like the, hey, I'm not going to tell the person about my religion or that they have to convert. I think he said basically the way he's setting it up is, let's see if we love each other first. Let's see if we fall in love first. And she's like, well, should I convert? Is it something I have to do, Sonny? And he just keeps saying, let's focus on us. I think he does want to get her in a position where, hey, let's fall in love first. And if you fall in love with me, you kind of can't say no, right? So I really kind of think that's manipulative. You should be able to know, or you need to know that information. Because once you fall in love, it does make it difficult. And people have done things for love, things that they may not have wanted to do. So next up, they're getting their minds off of that. They're going swimming. It becomes a little bit romantic. And it leads to the shower finally where he wanted to go, because they used to do the online shower thing together. But now they're finally doing the shower thing, which is what he wanted to do. So they're getting really close. And guess we'll find out more next time with Vea and Sonny. But yeah, some of the things that Sonny does is not really traditional when it comes to his belief system. I wonder if he's going to get called on that or not, at least by his friends. But he may keep this quiet and kind of just do what he does. I'm sure they know some of the things he's done already. All right, let's go to finally Advent and Tiger Lily. So Advent and Tiger Lily, they are having their little issues when it comes to outfits and clothing and what's appropriate or whatnot. And they end up on a boat. And if I missed anything, guys, I think I missed a little bit of the first few minutes of the show. Let me know if I missed anything. Email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. That's cbiztv@yahoo.com. Especially if it's something big that I left out. Please fill me in on this. I know that they do have repeat episodes on HBO Max, but sometimes they don't come out with it right away, so there could be a wait on that. But let's again talk about these two clothing issues, Muslim lifestyle. They end up on a boat at the point I see it, and she's got these crazy heel shoes on. She says she's hot because she has to wear this coat, and I guess he's trying to cover her up, and she's got these crazy shoes on. Her feet hurts, but she's ready to go on this boat, and she's happy to be on the boat. At least she can sit down for a minute. The gentleman wants to help her get on the boat. He's like, no, let me do it. So he has to take her hand and help her get on the boat. No man can ever touch her besides him. Questions. She has questions about the clothing that she can wear. And he's like, you have to cover up everything basically, but whatever you want. So he's giving her oxymoron, which makes no sense. Then he makes a food analogy about, hey, if you have some food and it's out in the open and then somebody else starts eating your food, would you still want that food? And she's like, are you comparing my body to food? And then they talk about the chiropractor and how he gets to touch her 3 times a week and he can't even touch her for long periods of time because they're not in the same country right now. He's asking her what is it that she doesn't understand. He's like, told you this before the marriage, and she's like, no, you really didn't. Basically she says she's been making changes that he really hasn't acknowledged. They talk about the swimwear and what she'll have to wear, and she's like, well, since I have to wear a full body covering with my swimwear, you need to wear a shirt or something like that when you get in the water. He's like, no, that makes no sense. I'm a man. I can take my shirt off. It's like, well, he said, you have such a small mind. Do you think that I'm an idiot, or it's idiotic for me to be wearing a shirt? And to me, he's really kind of demeaning her and talking down to her, saying she has a small mind. I already would be, challenging that and upset about that, but she's a lot cooler than I probably would be in this scenario. And so he agrees. She's like, well, I'm making changes, so you need to make some. He's like, okay, I'll wear my shirt in the water if you want. He said, I'm just really saying this just to shut her up because I'm kind of tired of this situation and her talking about these double standards, and I'm just saying what she wants to hear just so she'll be quiet for the time being. And that's not a way to run a marriage or a relationship. Because he's young, I think he's kind of going about this the wrong way as well, and he needs a little bit more experience on his side. But also, I don't think this is a good setup for either one of them. I think that he's also kind of naive, and kind of, to me, he had this glimmer in his eye the whole time that he knew some stuff that she didn't know. I feel like it's secretive. I feel like it's deceptive. In a way, it's really just not a cool situation. So hopefully Tiger Lily can make the best of it. She's trying to get him to hold the same standards as she's going to hold. But we'll see what goes forward with these two, and if they continue, and if they're supposed to be on their baby making trip. If they make a baby, that's pretty much going to seal some deals there when it comes to their relationship. So it already doesn't look good to me. He's immature. She's an older woman. I'm just not. And he also has a different belief system. A lot of these things aren't adding up. They rush into this marriage, and there's just so many things that they have to figure out that I don't know if they're gonna make it. I hope they do. I hope that Advan can move in a more mature way. Maybe he needs some mentorship in that area. But yeah, so that's it for our couples today. 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days. We're going to talk more faith, love, and trends as we continue our coverage. Let's chat, let's talk about it right here on CBiz Media. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, email me, Irene, at cbiztv@yahoo.com. That's cbiztv@yahoo.com. Thank you for joining me. All the best, and God bless.